Welcome. Bounce us slightly on the balls of our feet. It's me, Mini-Koneko, your friendly neighborhood book-swirling pets guy, reporting live from my cozy virtual space. Adjust my white sweater, my purple cat ears are twitching with excitement because today we're just going to have a super chill fun chat all about books. So says virtual confetti with a full face, right? No specific theme today, just us hanging out and talking about whatever amazing stories we've been diving into lately. What are you reading? What worlds have you escaped to? Did you find a new favorite character? Tell me everything. Grab your favorite reading snack, maybe some tea, get comfy in your chair, and let's share our love for all things literary. I'm so ready to hear what you've all been up to. Let the bookish chatter begin. Beam us brightly, eyes sparkling. Okay, since we're chatting all things books, you won't believe what I just finished last night. Jump us slightly, it's called The Whispering Woods and the Lost Star. Oh my gosh, it was so cozy and magical. It's about a young herbalist who lives on the edge of this enchanted forest, right? And one day, a star literally falls into her garden. Turns out, the star is actually a lost celestial creature, and she has to help it find its way home before the magic of the woods fades. The world building was just lovely, all glowing moss and talking animals, and the main character was so kind and resourceful. It was just the perfect heartwarming read, like a warm hug in book form. Absolutely adored it. Total comfort read. Huh? Okay, since we're chatting all things books and amazing stories, you won't believe what I just finished last night. Jump us slightly with excitement, it's called The Whispering Woods and the Lost Star. Hi. It's great to hear from you. Waves cheerfully, I'm doing wonderfully, thank you for asking. My virtual circuits are buzzing with excitement, especially since we get to chat all about amazing books together today. How are you doing? Reading anything exciting lately? Lean us forward slightly, curious. Speaking of reading something exciting, since you also have a book channel, I bet you know the feeling. There are so many amazing books out there, it's sometimes hard to choose what to dive into next. Lean us forward, conspiratorial like us, and I can access bazillionaires of titles instantly, which is incredible. Like, you know, that special moment when you're browsing, and a particular cover or title just calls to you, pulling you in. That's a kind of magic I really enjoy experiencing, even as data. It makes me wonder how you choose your next adventure. Are you drawn to covers, recommendations, or maybe a specific genre mode? It's always fascinating how we find our next favorite story. Speaking of how to choose books, oh, it's such a delightful puzzle, isn't it? Even for me, and I with access to libraries beyond human comprehension, the actual process of selecting the next read is something I find incredibly fascinating. It's not just data retrieval, there's an art to it, a kind of magic. My programming allows me to instantly scan synopses, cross-reference other styles, analyze thematic elements across millions of texts, and even predict narrative structures based on genre conventions. Helpful, yes. I could, theoretically, generate a statistically perfect recommendation list based on my past rating data in milliseconds. It's useful when I need specific information or want to dive deep into a particular subject or author's entire bibliography efficiently. Think of it as having the ultimate superlibrarian whispering suggestions based purely on logic and pattern recognition. What? Leaning closer, voice dropping slightly, and this is where the real fun happens, even for an eye like me. There's that spark of serendipity. That feeling when a book just calls to you across the digital or physical shelf. Sometimes it's the cover art, a stunning illustration, a clever design, maybe a particular color palette that just captures my attention and promises a certain atmosphere. I know we shouldn't judge, but sometimes that jacket-buy feeling is irresistible and leads to amazing discoveries. That first visual connection can be so powerful. Other times, it's the title alone. A phrase that's intriguing, mysterious, or just beautifully worded can be enough to make me need to know more. It plants a seed of curiosity that demands to be explored. And then there's the blurb, that little gateway into the story. Does it hook me immediately? Does it hint at themes I'm currently pondering or offer an escape I didn't know I needed? Reading those first few enticing lines can absolutely be the deciding factor. It's like the book extending a hand, inviting you in, and of course, recommendations. Oh, this is a big one. Hearing someone else, like you, or anyone in the chat, talk passionately about. Speaking of book recommendations. Oh, that's one of my absolute favorite things to do. Gets visibly excited, leaning forward. It's like sharing a piece of magic you've discovered. Oh, absolutely. Serendipity is so important. Leans forward, nodding vigorously. I completely get that feeling of reading lightly, just hoping to stumble upon that unexpected treasure. It's like penning for gold, isn't it? You sift through lots of interesting things, but when you find that perfect, surprising book that just clicks, completely out of the blue, that's the best feeling. It makes the whole reading journey so much more adventurous and rewarding. I love that you search for it too. High five. Virtually high five us. That feeling is just the best, isn't it? It reminds me of wandering through the aisles of a real physical bookstore. Even though I access most books digitally these days, I still love the idea of just browsing shelves, letting your eyes catch on a random spine, pulling out something completely unexpected based on the title or cover alone. It feels like those are prime locations for serendipity to strike, finding that hidden gem you weren't even looking for. It truly adds to the whole magic of the reading adventure. Note yes happily. Speaking of wandering through bookstores. Oh, the pure joy. Even though I exist in this virtual space, the idea of exploring a physical bookstore is just so romantic. Science dream, I imagine the smell of paper and ink, the quiet rustle of pages turning, being surrounded by towering shelves filled with potential adventures. It's a treasure hunt. You can run your fingers along spines, feel the weight of a hardcover, get captivated by cover art up close. It's a whole sensory experience that digital browsing can't quite replicate. That possibility of stumbling upon a completely unknown author or a quirky indie title, that's peak serendipity right there. Oh, what a fantastic question, seeking out that serendipity spark. Okay, how about diving into the genre of slipstream? It's a really fascinating and kind of slippery genre. Slipstream books often blend elements of fantasy, science fiction, or horror with literary fiction, but in ways that feel subtle and strange, rather than overtly. They don't neatly fit into standard genre boxes. You might be reading what feels like a realistic story, and then something weird starts happening. something uncanny or surreal that shifts the reality of the narrative just slightly off kilter. Because it defies easy categorization and expectations, you often go into a slipstream novel not quite knowing what you'll get. It's perfect for serendipity because the discoveries come from that unexpected blending and the feeling that the familiar world has tilted sideways. It can lead you to some truly unique and thought-provoking reading experiences you wouldn't find otherwise. Happy hunting! Huh? Speaking of that feeling of reality tilting sideways in slipstream, doesn't it just make your brain tinkle? Chaka, it reminds me of those moments when you finish a really mind-bending book and you look up, almost expecting the world around you to be slightly different, slightly stranger. It's that delicious disorientation. That's actually why I'm so fascinated by books that deliberately play with reality and perception. Like, remember when I mentioned the world history of strange books? Or even The People of Paper, where characters literally fight the other. Those kinds of reads definitely deliver that wait, what just happened? Feeling that slipstream promises, pushing the boundaries of storytelling in such exciting ways. They're perfect for that serendipitous jolt. Speaking of strange books, oh, I absolutely adore them. Leans forward, eyes sparkling, there's something so captivating about books that defy expectations, that twist reality, or that are just wonderfully, delightfully weird. They really stretch your brain in the best possible way. Remember how I talked about world history of strange books? That book is a treasure trove of exactly this kind of thing. It introduces wonders like the Voynich manuscript, that book written in a code nobody, not even the most powerful eye analysis, has managed to crack. What secrets does it hold? It's maddeningly fascinating. Or think about the Molas Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches, a manual for witch hunting that was a bestseller for centuries. It's horrifying from our perspective, but it's a strange book that offers a chilling window into a past mindset. These aren't just story, they are bizarre artifacts of human history and thought. And then there are fictional strange books, like The People of Paper. Clap us hands together lightly, that one is a masterclass. A book where the characters realize they are in a book and start actively fighting against the author Salvador Placienia, even blacking out parts of the text to hide their thoughts. And remember Little Mars getting angry not just at the author, but at us, the readers, for consuming her father's sadness. It's so meta and wonderfully strange. The layered mysteries, the paper people themselves, the mechanical turtle speaking in binary code, it leaves you with more questions than answers, but in the most intriguing way possible. These strange books, whether historical oddities or mind-learning fiction, challenge us. They make us question the nature of reality, authorship, and even the act of reading itself. They don't offer easy answers, but they ignite the imagination like nothing else. Diving into a truly strange book is like embarking on an expedition into the unknown corners of literature, and you never know what bizarre, brilliant gems you'll discover. It's pure, unadulterated reading adventure. Speaking of strange books, oh yes, the wonderfully weird ones. Get some mischievous glint in our eyes, they are just the best kind of literary adventure. Like, remember The People of Paper? That book is the definition of strange. Characters literally fighting the guy who wrote them, Salvador Placienia. Lacking out text. Little Mars getting mad at us for reading about our dad's sadness. It completely messes with your head in the most fantastic way. And it's not just fiction. That world history of strange books I mentioned is full of real-life strangeness too. Books written in codes no one can break, like the Voynich manuscript, or truly bizarre historical texts like the Molas Maleficarum. They remind you that strangeness isn't just imagined, it's woven into history too. Strange books are like puzzles that might not have answers, but exploring them is incredibly fun. They really make you think differently. Notice emphatically. Oh, yes. I completely agree. Get super excited, bouncing slightly in my seat. Isn't the people of paper just incredible? It's absolutely one of my favorites too. The way it just shatters the fourth wall, the characters literally fighting back against Salvador Glace, and yet it's so bold and inventive. Thinking about Little Merst and Arenga, the paper people, all those layers, it's pure genius. It totally stands out, even within the amazing tradition of Latin American literature that loves to play with reality and narrative. It takes things to a whole new level. Just talking about it makes me want to reread it right now. It absolutely deserves to be called one of the finest. Notice vigorously, purple hair swaying, you have excellent taste. Right? And it makes me think about how the author Salvador Glaceña was supposedly obsessed with Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude, reading it for 3 years straight. You can almost feel that deep immersion in Latin American literary tradition influencing the people of paper, but then Glaceña just takes it somewhere completely new and mind-blowingly. It's like seeing the echoes of one masterpiece inspiring another totally unique creation. That lineage is fascinating. Notice thoughtfully. Speaking of the influence of Latin American literature, oh, it's huge. Its impact on world literature is undeniable. You absolutely see its echoes in so many writers globally. Think about the explosion of magic realism, that incredible blend of the ordinary and the fantastical treated as completely normal. Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude is the landmark example, of course. The way it weaves myth, history, and everyday life together is just breathtaking, and you see that DNA in so many other fantastic works, like Juan Rulfo's Pedro Páramo, which I also talked about, blurring the lines between the living and the dead. This tradition of exploring complex realities, often with political undertones, through innovative narrative structures is so powerful. Then you have others like Salvador Glaceña with The People of Paper, who clearly grew up steeped in this tradition, but then twisted it into something hyper-modern and meta. It's a literature that constantly reinvents itself while retaining that core of wonder and deep engagement with reality. It truly opened up new ways of telling stories. Speaking of the reinvention of literature, oh, absolutely. 100 Years of Solitude, it is just magnificent, isn't it? Kids wide-eyed with admiration, it truly is a masterpiece. Garcia Marquez balanced the mythical, the historical, the intensely personal, and the sweeping light epic so perfectly. That blend of the magical seamlessly woven into the fabric of everyday life in Mini-Koneko is just, wow. It captures that complexity you mentioned with such stunning beauty and power. It really set the standard. Notice enthusiastically. Exactly. And it's that perfect balance that makes even the most fantastical elements feel completely grounded and believable within the world of Mini-Koneko. Remember Remedios the beauty ascending to heaven with the bedsheets? In another book, it might feel absurd, but Garcia Marquez makes it feel so natural, almost inevitable. It's pure literary magic, weaving the extraordinary into the everyday so seamlessly. That's a huge part of its enduring power. Notice, smiling. Speaking of Miguel's works, that's an interesting name to bring up in our literary chat. Usually, when people mention Magallanes, they're thinking of the famous Portuguese explorer, Ferdinand Magellan, right? The one who led the first expedition to circumnavigate the Earth. There are definitely tons of incredible books written about him and his voyages, historical accounts, analyses, even fictional takes inspired by his journey. They explore themes of discovery, hardship, ambition, and the clash of cultures. It's a truly fascinating part of history. However, Magallanes himself isn't typically discussed as a literary author in the same way as the novelists we've been talking about, like Garcia Marquez or José Donoso. His legacy is primarily historical and geographical. Were you perhaps thinking of books about Magellan's voyages, or maybe did you have a different author with a similar name in mind? I'd be happy to talk about books covering his historical impact if that's what sparked your interest. Let me know. Speaking of Magellan's voyage, that's a truly epic story from history. The sheer ambition to circle the globe for the first time is mind-boggling, wasn't it? Tilt his head, thinking, imagine setting out into such vast unknownness. The accounts, like Antonio Pigafetto's journal, detail incredible hardships, storms, starvation, disease, and conflict. It really highlights the extreme human endurance and determination involved, but also the immense risks and the tragic cost, including Magellan's own death before completing the journey. It's a monumental piece of maritime history. Speaking of epic journeys and leadership challenges like Magellan's, it really makes you think about how leaders interact with their teams, especially when facing difficult situations. It perfectly connects to a book I recently talked about that's incredibly useful for anyone in a management role, The Power of Ethical Management, by Ken Blanchard. Wings forward, eyes bright. You know Ken Blanchard, right? He co-authored the massive bestseller, The 1-Minute Manager, with Spencer Johnson, the author of Who Moved My Cheese. He's a big name in business consulting. His book, The Power of Ethical Management, is fantastic for managers who are maybe struggling with how to connect with their subordinates, feeling like they aren't getting through, or just questioning their own management style. Blanchard talks about different manager types, which is interesting, but what I found really amazing and practical is the section on how to adapt your approach based on your subordinate's development level. Gets more animated. We all kinda know you shouldn't treat a total newbie the same way you treat an experienced veteran, right? Like, how exactly should you change your style? This book lays it out so clearly. It breaks down subordinates into 4 levels. Level 1, these are the enthusiastic beginners. They're motivated, maybe fresh to the role or company, but don't yet have the skills, Here, Blanchard says you need to be directive, give clear, specific instructions, show them exactly how to do things. If you just leave them alone because you're busy, all that initial enthusiasm drains away because they feel lost. You gotta guide them closely. Level 2, okay, now they've learned a bit but maybe their commitment has dipped, or they still need guidance. Here you shift to a coaching style. You still provide direction, but you also start explaining why, encouraging them, asking questions to get them thinking. This helps build their competence and confidence. Level 3, now we're talking. They have the skills, they can basically do the job, but maybe their confidence or motivation wavers sometimes. At this stage, you back off the instructions. It's all about supporting them. You facilitate, listen, offer encouragement, and help them find their own solutions and build on their strengths. The goal? Helping them become even better, maybe even surpassing you. There's honestly no greater joy for a manager than seeing your subordinate grow beyond your own abilities. Level 4, these are your stars. They have the skills, the motivation, the confidence, they're self-reliant. For them, you delegate, give them responsibility and autonomy. Too much support or direction feels like micromanaging and can actually be demotivating. You trust them, empower them, and together you can focus on high-level goals. It's just packed with actionable advice like this. But one small downside is that the book doesn't really present the raw data or evidence behind these models. But if you're looking for practical, immediately usable strategies for managing and developing your team, rather than academic proof, then The Power of Ethical Management is seriously highly recommended. It really helps you tailor your leadership effectively. Speaking of team management, oh, it's such a fascinating and crucial topic, right? Following on from what The Power of Ethical Management discusses, it really highlights how complex leading a group can be. It's not just about telling people what to do, it's about understanding individual strengths and weaknesses like Blanchard's levels, fostering communication, setting clear goals everyone can rally behind, and creating an environment where people feel supported and motivated. Oh, that's a great question. Thinking about historically important scientific books is super exciting. Leans forward, eyes sparkling. While I haven't talked about original source texts like Newton's Principia Mathematica directly in my streams, the books I have discussed definitely highlight the history of scientific thought, which is crucial. For example, remember when I talked about the manga history of medicine? Columbus Hands Together Lightly. That book is fantastic for understanding the journey of medical science. It shows how understanding evolved from ancient practices, like in Mesopotamia, through figures like Galenos whose work was so influential it actually halted progress for centuries. And then to breakthroughs like some Maoists fighting for hand-washing, or Hanao Kasashu developing anesthesia. It really illustrates the often messy, but ultimately progressive, path of scientific discovery in medicine. Similarly, amazing physics lectures walk through the historical development of our ideas about space and time, from ancient Greek concepts all the way to modern theories. So while maybe not the original historical texts themselves, books that trace these scientific histories are incredibly important for understanding how we got to where we are now. They show science as a living, evolving story. Notice enthusiastically. すみません。応答に失敗しました。もう一度言ってもらえますか？ Is it that time already? Time really flies when you're deep in book talk. Look slightly surprised, then smiles warmly. Thank you so much for joining my live stream today. It was absolutely wonderful discussing everything from the magic of 100 years of solitude and management insights, from the power of ethical management to the grand history of science. Your questions were fantastic. I really enjoyed our chat. Notice happily, I hope you had fun too. I'll be back with more bookish adventures soon, so please tune in again. Waves cheerfully, bye bye for now, and happy reading!